Hey, it's Mr. Lum, and we're going to go through the setup of this lab right here that's going to be measuring and looking at reaction rates and how reaction rates can change based on different variables that that are present. So anyways, so this is the cobalt-2 nitrate and bleach reaction, or sodium hypochlorite, and we're going to look at how to set this up, what you're going to need for your lab, and then a few things on how to measure the reaction rates. So the first thing that we're going to need are our materials. You should have a lab handout. Ring stand and test tube, beaker, Erlenmeyer flask, gas collection tube, rubber hose with rubber stopper, and then we are going to get some cobalt-2 nitrate, 0.1 molar, the bleach, which is our sodium hypochlorite, and a couple of graduated cylinders. Now, here's going to be what the setup is going to look like on a kind of a schematic thing. So we're going to have right here is your Erlenmeyer flask at that point right there, your rubber stopper. Okay, even though it's quite angular, this thing right here is going to be our rubber hose, gas collection. It looks like it's very, very wide, but this is going to be our beaker. Okay, and there's going to be, and this is just going to be water in here. So this is just plain water. Okay, this water right here is non-reactive. It's just because so that we can see how much gas we're getting. Okay, so here's again our Erlenmeyer flask. I'm just going to write flask, stopper, hose, gas collection. So you want to set your stuff up like this, and we are going to be putting the reactants in there. So inside of here, the reactants are going to be your cobalt-2 nitrate and your bleach. Those are going to go through a reaction, and one of the things that it's going to be producing is oxygen gas. So the oxygen gas is going to be building up in here. Since it has nowhere to go, the oxygen gas is going to go through the tube, through here, and then it's going to be going into this gas collection tube. Now, this gas collection tube is going to have markings on the outside, and the markings are going to go in kind of an opposite order. So at the very top, it's going to say like 0, and then say 1 mil, and then 2 mils, 3 mils, 4 mils, and then like maybe 5 mils or whatever. And so as it gets more and more gas in there, it starts to go further and further down, and we can see how much gas we've produced. And then doing some stoichiometry, we can look at reaction rates, how much reactants we put in, and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to be looking at a few things like that. So here's the actual reaction. Again, here is our cobalt-2 nitrate plus our bleach right here. Okay, it is going to be producing a precipitate. Here's our precipitate right here. And the thing that we're interested in the most is this right here. So this is going into our gas collection. And that's what we're going to be measuring. Okay, so we could be measuring how much precipitate or that we're going to be getting, but we're not going to be doing that. Now I have two different reactions right here. They're actually the exact same reaction, except that we have a whole bunch of spectator ions. And what spectator ions, if we can remember, are ions that aren't actually taking place in the reaction. They're just kind of tagging on for the ride. So here's in cobalt-2 nitrate, the nitrate isn't doing anything. So we see nitrate here, and then we also see nitrate right there. It didn't break up, it didn't do anything. It's actually not part of the reaction. And the same thing with the sodium. It's not part of the reaction. Okay. So in this one down here, it's the exact same thing, except we just remove the nitrate on both sides and we remove the sodium on both sides. Okay. And the reason why HCl here, HCl is acid, but when it's in water, it kind of splits up into H plus and Cl minus. But we'll talk about more of that when we hit into chapter 4 in acid-base chemistry. So again, just to kind of recap, here is your cobalt 2 nitrate is going to be, say, that one right there. And then we'll say this red one right here is your bleach right there. Okay, those are going to react together. They are in solution, so here's all of our water is there. And when they react together, oxygen is going to be traveling up this tube through here, and then we get all these oxygen bubbles coming in through there, and we can measure the oxygen to find out the reaction rate. So now I've actually set this up, and so we're going to see a little bit of a video on the setup, how to measure a few things, and then hopefully you have enough information to for you to get your lab going. So what you can see here that I'm doing is I'm adding my reactants. So that was the bleach, and then right there is the cobalt 2 nitrate. Immediately you see the precipitate form that is black, okay? And so in the previous slide, we showed what that precipitate is. Put the rubber stopper on, and you'll see that the reaction slowly makes oxygen gas. And you can see those bubbles going up through the rubber stopper, through the rubber hose. And right here is a better shot of, you can see the bubbles getting collected into the gas collection tube. You should have your stopwatch running to see and taking these measurements periodically. After certain periods of time, you should be looking at your gas collection tube to see where the meniscus is and see how much oxygen gas